Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have another Sprocket Community Steel video. Hopefully you've all been enjoying the projects I've been showing so far from the various members of the Sprocket community. Well, let's dive on in here to today's video. Let's start off with the Schritzwagen, or the STRV-42 from Nikodowski. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I'm not 100% sure. And what he's got here is he's got a late war, and it's actually only a 10-ton tank, and that's because he doesn't have the armor configured for this. Although he does have the engine and the gun configured. So it's actually quite fast. It's really, really fast. And it's got a 75mm high velocity gun, so it does very well in those regards. But if you're going to download this vehicle, you're going to have to configure the armor yourself, which I do believe for the Schritzwagen 42 there actually is armor diagrams out there for it, and as you can see I killed myself. Yay. Moving on to our second tank, we have the Renault FT17. I believe this actually might be the second FT17 I've ever shown on Community Steel. Although that being said, this is a much newer rendition, as this is a 0.113 version of a Renault FT17, and this is from Echo. And it's armed with a 37mm gun. Its velocity's nothing to write home to mom about, but it is a World War I vehicle, and it weighs in at 9.10 tons. And it's got decent mobility for World War I. Once again, nothing to write home to mom about, but it is a World War I vehicle, so there's not a whole lot you can really say about the mobility or anything. I mean, the vehicle itself is actually rather good for World War I period, but considering the other time periods that we have in the game, yeah, I mean, it's a World War I tank. The next vehicle that we have here, folks, sorry about that long, awkward silence, is the MT01LCP from Blackberry. And what he has here is he has a 24-ton tank with a 105mm main gun, and it's got really decent mobility. And, well, I don't know if it's actually decent armored or if it's just the armor's really effective, or maybe a little bit of both. But the gun is definitely really good. And that being said, it's kind of gotten like that automated remote turret design that you see on like the M1 TTB and the Challenger 2 Falcon, or sorry, Challenger 1 Falcon. Challenger 1 Falcon. My bad, folks. It's definitely a pretty cool design. Now, this is an earlier design that was actually sent to me quite a while ago, even before like the patch 0.113 was still actually in beta at the time, and it like literally it was like days after the new beta had dropped. Now, of course, things have been in full swing for a while, but this is the only rendition of the vehicle I have, and honestly I think it's actually a really cool design, really great idea, and it was actually pretty well executed in my opinion. And as you can see here, it just gets up and goes. It just goes. I think that's actually really cool. It kind of gives it a more modern main battle tank feel, and I just like how he did the robotic turret, or the automated turret, if you will, in the vehicle. It just looks awesome, and it works really good. Yay, victory! Let's drive around here a little bit. I also like how he did the engine deck. The raised engine deck looks great. The vehicle itself just looks good. The next one we have here is the A15 cruiser tank from Budget Munitions, and it does actually have the 57mm gun. It is really light, very mobile, and it weighs in at 14 tons. It is for the mid-war time period. As you can see here, it gets up and goes pretty good. It looks really good. To me, it looks like the A14, particularly the turret, because there has been other renditions of the A14. I even made an A14, or sorry, an A15 myself, but just at the time couldn't nail the turret understand these renditions I'm talking about were pre-patch 0.113, and now we actually have a version that we can rock out for the new patch of Sprocket. So it's definitely a really cool, you know, I like the cruiser tanks, to be honest, especially the Crusader here. Did a bit of damage to my crew, but that's okay. I'll be fine. It buff out with a little wet paper towel, you know. Okay, the final tank is from TRex 2040. Yes, TRex has returned, and what we have here is we have the Knight, which is basically a really heavy infantry tank. It weighs in at 35 tons and has a 75 millimeter main gun. Sorry, 76 millimeter main gun. I had to recheck my notes there. Yeah, 76 millimeter main gun. The design is definitely not a user-friendly design. You can tell by looking at the vehicle, which I do admire it for that, and it does kind of have like that World War I-ish type design to it that you tend to see with the inter-war period vehicles, where they're kind of getting to the point of, we know what we are looking for in a tank, but we're trying to figure out what we're looking for in a tank. And it is actually a quite heavy tank. As you can see, it's actually a quite large tank, but it's actually got a rather small turret for a 75 millimeter main gun tank. Sorry, 76 millimeter main gun tank. And it's actually got a really beefy gun. The gun size makes the gun caliber look bigger than it really is. So there was definitely some forethought put into the design of this vehicle. And I didn't do too bad. I'm surprised I actually bounced that shot there. That is actually my M2 medium, which I have not finished fixing yet. I still got to do the raised engine deck on the rear. But there's not many tanks that actually bounces shots from my M2 medium. Not interwar period. Now the one problem here, and I'm going to do it here in a moment, and I didn't realize this could be done until like right now. Watch, and I killed myself. If I wasn't old and shit, folks, I shot my own tank. But anyway, folks, that will wrap up today's Community Steel video. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.